You've probably seen it, right? Your news feed is just flooded with headlines about tech layoffs. But there's one reason that keeps popping up again and again: AI. It feels like the robots are finally here and they're handing out pink slips. But is AI really the bad guy here, or is it just a convenient excuse? Let's dig in.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the shocking numbers behind this AI layoff wave. Then, we'll ask the big question: is AI the real reason, or is it a scapegoat? After that, we'll uncover the huge restructuring happening behind the scenes. Look at the jobs being lost versus the ones being created. And finally, figure out how we can all navigate this brand new reality.
Let's just start with one number: 78,557. That's how many tech workers were laid off in just the first few months of this year. Seriously, this isn't a small ripple. It's a full-on tidal wave.
And we're not talking about little startups that are struggling. No. These are the giants: Snap, Meta, Oracle, Salesforce, Amazon. The list just goes on. These are hugely profitable, powerful companies, and they're making a fundamental change in who they hire and why.
And you know what? They're not even trying to hide the reason. Take this quote from Snap's CEO. He's being incredibly direct about it. They're using AI to reduce repetitive work. The subtext there is crystal clear. We can do way more, way faster, with fewer people.
And this isn't just one guy's opinion. Jack Dorsey over at Block put it even more bluntly. He said, AI fundamentally changes what it means to run and build a company. This isn't about just tweaking a few job descriptions. They see this as a complete revolution in how business is done. Okay, so that's the official story. But are these CEOs telling us everything? That brings us right to our next big question. Is AI the true catalyst for all this change, or is it just a really convenient scapegoat? Let's peel back those headlines. Because, when you actually dig a little deeper than those big CEO statements, the story starts to get a lot more complicated. Is AI really the only reason for all these layoffs? Or is it a handy narrative for something else? This has actually led to a brand new term you're going to hear a lot more: AI washing. It's the idea that companies might be publicly blaming AI for job cuts to kind of cover up other problems. Maybe they went on a hiring binge during the pandemic and just hired too many people. Or maybe they just want to send a signal to Wall Street that they're getting more efficient, which, surprise, surprise, often gives their stock price a nice little boost. And this isn't just some theory. Listen to Baba Kojat, a chief AI officer. He puts it pretty plainly. Sometimes AI becomes the scapegoat. It's basically a 21st century excuse for a classic business problem. A company grew too fast, and now it has to make a correction. But there's another piece to this puzzle, something that's happening much more quietly. It's being called invisible unemployment. And this is the kind of job loss that never, ever makes the headlines. It's not about firing somebody. It's about what happens when someone leaves a company and they just aren't replaced. Why? Because a new AI tool can now pick up the slack. And here is a perfect, almost chilling, real-world example from a founder. 3 people on their team left. They only hired 1 person back. So what about the other 2 jobs? Well, they're running an experiment with AI agents. And if that experiment works, those 2 jobs, they just vanished from the hiring plan. Poof, no layoff announcement, no headline, just gone. So when you combine the public layoffs that we all hear about with this quiet, invisible unemployment, you start to see the real picture. This isn't just about job cuts. This is the great restructuring of the entire tech workforce. And this timeline really puts it all into perspective. Remember 2020 and 21? Tech companies couldn't hire fast enough, grabbing all the junior talent they could find. Then, in 22 and 23, interest rates went up, and bam, mass layoffs. Now in 2024, hiring is picking up again, but the philosophy has totally changed. It's all about smaller, more senior teams. And the new AI tools, they're just hitting the accelerator on this shift away from those entry-level roles. And this graph, wow. This shows you the revolution in action. Just focus on those 2 lines. The red one, that's manual coding, is in a total freefall, dropping from almost half of all coding tasks down to just 15%. At the same time, look at the blue line. That's AI supervision. It's skyrocketing. This means the actual job of being a coder is fundamentally changing. It's not about writing every single line of code anymore. It's about becoming the manager of an AI that writes the code for you. This creates this really fascinating paradox. A recent report found that while the overall number of employees in some sectors is actually down 5%, the number of new hires is up 3%. So how on earth does that make sense? Well,
Companies are trimming those generalist and junior roles, the ones AI can help with, while at the same time, they're aggressively hiring for super specific, highly skilled specialists who can manage this new AI-driven world.
So this whole paradox, fewer total jobs, but more new hires, it brings us to a classic pattern we see in big tech disruptions. For every job that's lost, a new, totally different kind of job is gained. It's a phenomenon known as the J-curve.
And this chart breaks down that transformation perfectly. On the left side, in red, you can see the old-school jobs like tech support are shrinking. But now look over to the right, in green. The demand for skills like data science and cybersecurity is exploding, growing by more than 10%. So we're not seeing a net loss of jobs so much as a massive shift in what kinds of jobs are actually valuable.
And that pattern has a name. It's called the J-curve, and it shows up with basically every major technological revolution. First, you get this dip. That's the job displacement. And yeah, it's a painful, really difficult period. But then, the second part of the J starts to climb. That's new job creation, and it eventually overtakes the losses. Right now, we're in that tough dip at the bottom of the J, but history tells us a pretty big upswing is coming.
And that upswing is forecast to be a big one. Projections are showing that while AI might get rid of about 1.8 million IT jobs worldwide by 2026, it's also expected to create 2.3 million new ones. That's a net gain of 500,000 jobs. But the key thing to remember is they are not going to be the same jobs we're losing.
Okay, so if these new jobs are going to be so different, how do we get ready for them? That brings us to our last section, navigating the new reality. What are the skills that actually matter right now?
This heat map, honestly, tells you everything you need to know. Think of it like a cheat sheet for the future job market. Down in the bottom left, manual testing is bright red. That means supply of workers is high, but demand is low. That is a danger zone. But look up at the top right. Areas like ML ops are also red, but for the opposite reason. Demand is through the roof, but there is a massive shortage of talent. The map to where the opportunities are is right here.
So to boil it all down, the skills reports are crystal clear. The number one most in-demand behavior isn't a programming language, it's adaptability. It's being able to shift from just being a coder to being an AI manager. The top technical skill is, no surprise here, machine learning and AI. And the biggest gap? The place where companies are desperate for talent they can't find? That's cybersecurity.
And all of this leaves us with one final, and I think really crucial question. It's so tempting to want the jobs of 2021 back. But those jobs, the ones defined by a totally different economy and a pre-AI world, they're gone. They're not coming back. The jobs of tomorrow demand new skills, new ways of thinking, and a totally new level of adaptability. The only question left is, are we ready for them?